200 years ago, the world burned. Cities that stood for centuries turned to ash overnight. Empires that ruled the known world, Egypt, Hittite, Canaan, crumbled in the span of a single lifetime. Their palaces were torched, their languages silenced, their secrets buried beneath the dust. It was as if an unseen force pressed a cosmic reset button, plunging humanity into darkness. Who or what could unleash such devastation? Was it a merciless horde known as the Sea Peoples sweeping through the Mediterranean like a tidal wave of destruction? Or was it a betrayal from within? A conspiracy of ancient elites wielding forbidden knowledge? Perhaps the answer lies beyond our world, in the stars, where some whisper of extraterrestrial hands guiding the fall. Tonight, we dive into the greatest unsolved mystery of history. Why did so many civilizations collapse at once? And could their fate be a warning for us today? Imagine a world at its peak. The Late Bronze Age, 1200 before Common Era, was a time of unparalleled splendor. In Egypt, pharaohs like Ramses III reigned as living gods, their wealth drawn from the fertile Nile. In modern-day Turkey, the Hittites built an empire to rival Egypt. Their armies feared across the land. Across the Aegean, the Mycenaeans crafted palaces of stone. Their warriors celebrated in epic tales of the Trojan War. Along the shores of Canaan, cities like Megiddo thrived as hubs of trade, their markets buzzing with goods from distant lands. Mesopotamia's Babylonians and Assyrians etched their laws into clay, while ships crisscrossed the Mediterranean, carrying copper from Cyprus and tin from Afghanistan. This was no collection of isolated kingdoms. It was a global network bound by trade routes, royal marriages, and diplomatic letters. Kings wrote to one another, exchanging gifts and forging alliances. It was a golden age, a testament to human ingenuity. Yet, in a heartbeat, it was gone. What could cause such a cataclysm? The ancient Egyptians pointed to the Sea Peoples, a mysterious group described in the inscriptions of Ramses III's temple at Medinet Habu. These marauders, the texts claim, razed cities from Greece to Syria, leaving a trail of fire and ruin before targeting Egypt itself. But who were they? Were they a unified army, a coalition of tribes, or desperate refugees fleeing a greater disaster? Some say they hailed from Sicily or Sardinia, others from the lost continent of Atlantis, a civilization swallowed by the sea. Could they have been survivors of a volcanic catastrophe like the eruption of Santorini 1,600 years earlier, which shattered the Minoan world? Or, as some fringe theorists propose, were they guided by extraterrestrial forces, their actions recorded in Sumerian tales of gods descending from the heavens? The Sea Peoples remain a shadow, their origins a puzzle that defies answers, pulling us deeper into the enigma. The scale of the collapse is staggering. The Hittite Empire, a superpower rivaling Egypt, vanished so completely that its capital was lost until the 20th century. In Greece, every major Mycenaean center, Sina, Chios, Tyrn, was destroyed, their linear crypt forgotten. Canaan cities, including Megiddo, the biblical Armageddon, were set ablaze, their gates sealed by terrified inhabitants. Writing systems died, languages faded, and entire cultures were erased. This was not a single kingdom falling. It was a cascade of destruction across the Mediterranean. The question burns. What force could synchronize such chaos? Was it mere coincidence, or was there a hidden hand? Natural, human, or otherworldly pulling the strings? Science offers a chilling clue. The environment turned against humanity. Researchers like Daphne Longut at the University of Tel Aviv have uncovered evidence of a devastating drought that gripped the Mediterranean from 1250 to 1100 before Common Era. pollen grains preserved in the sediments of the Dead Sea and the Sea of Galilee tell a story of collapse. Trees like pines and oaks, markers of a humid climate, disappeared, replaced by sparse, arid vegetation. In Greece, stalagmites from a cave on Skopalos reveal centuries of reduced rainfall, aligning perfectly with the destruction of Minoan palaces. A sudden cooling of the Mediterranean Sea, scientists say, reduced evaporation, slashing rainfall and starving crops. Famine swept the land, turning farmers into wanderers and cities into battlegrounds. But what caused this cooling? Some point to volcanic eruptions, perhaps in the Alps or Iceland, spewing ash that darkened the skies. Others speculate a cosmic event. A comet or asteroid altered the climate, leaving fiery omens in ancient texts. Could these be clues to a larger hidden truth? The idea of a cosmic trigger is tantalizing. Mesopotamian records describe strange lights in the sky interpreted by some as evidence of extraterrestrial activity. Modern theorists citing ancient astronaut hypotheses suggest that advanced beings may have influenced these events, perhaps testing humanity or reshaping civilizations. While mainstream scholars dismiss such claims, the absence of clear answers fuels speculation. Could the drought have been a natural fluke? Or was it manipulated by forces beyond our comprehension? Some even propose that ancient elites wielding lost technologies engineered the crisis to consolidate power, a precursor to modern conspiracies about weather control. These ideas, though far-fetched, highlight the mystery's depth, urging us to question what we accept as truth. The collapse was not just environmental. It struck at the heart of civilization's interconnectedness. The Bronze Age world relied on a complex trade network. Copper from Cyprus and tin from Afghanistan were forged into bronze, the metal that defined the era. Ships carried these resources across the Mediterranean, linking empires in a web of commerce. But when drought crippled mines and starved populations, this network unraveled. Clay tablets from the Hittite capital revealed desperate pleas for grain as famine gripped their lands. Egypt, too, felt the strain. The Nile, its lifeblood, faltered as monsoon rains weakened. Geologist Mark Mlin's studies of Nile sediments show a major river contraction between 1280 and 1220 before Common Era. Without food, societies fractured. In Egypt, workers staged history's first recorded strike, demanding unpaid wages. Tomb robberies surged, a sign of a kingdom on the brink. This chaos bred betrayal. In Egypt, Ramses III faced not only external threats, but a conspiracy within his own palace. The Haram conspiracy, documented in ancient records, saw one of his wives plot to assassinate him, aiming to place her son on the throne. Was this a desperate grab for power in a collapsing world, or part of a larger scheme? Some theorists draw parallels to modern secret societies, suggesting that ancient elites orchestrated chaos to reshape society. Much like myths of the Illuminati today, the idea of a curse of the pharaohs adds another layer of intrigue. Could the same forces that doomed Ramses have cursed other civilizations, ensuring their fall? The mystery deepens, leaving us to wonder if human ambition, greed, or something darker drove the collapse. The human toll was devastating. Imagine families fleeing burning cities, farmers watching fields turn to dust, kings powerless as their empires crumbled. The loss was not just material, but cultural. Writing systems like Lineae vanished. Languages spoken for centuries were silenced. Stories of gods and heroes, perhaps hinting at lost technologies, were buried. Some speculate that these technologies advanced metallurgy, navigation, or even energy sources were hidden by elites, preserved in myths like the Greek tale of Prometheus stealing fire from the gods. Could these stories conceal truths about a forgotten age? The collapse ushered in a dark age, a centuries-long silence that erased much of what came before. Yet from this darkness, new societies would rise, built on iron and resilience. This mystery resonates today. Our world faces climate change, pandemics, and migration, echoing the crises of the Bronze Age. Are we too vulnerable to a sudden collapse? Some conspiracy theorists argue that history is cyclical, controlled by hidden forces, modern elites perhaps, or even extraterrestrial overseers repeating ancient patterns. These ideas, while speculative, challenge us to look closer. The Bronze Age collapse is a warning. No civilization is invincible. As we unravel this enigma, we will explore the science pollen, as cores, ancient DNA that has transformed our understanding. We will meet scholars like Eric Klein who piece together this puzzle and probe the secrets of the sea peoples, the droughts, and the lost knowledge that may hold the answers. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Mr. your guide through the shadows of history on Codex of the Lost. If you find this journey into the unknown captivating, consider subscribing to our channel and ringing the bell to join us for more tales of mystery and wonder. Together, let us uncover the truths hidden in the ruins. Truths that may change how we see our past and our future. Picture a world where kings were gods, where cities gleamed under the Mediterranean sun, and where secrets whispered through the sails of ships crossing turquoise waters. This was the late Bronze Age. 200 years ago, a time when humanity's ambition touched the heavens. But beneath the grandeur of empires, hidden truths and forbidden knowledge simmered, waiting to unravel. What if the prosperity of this era was built on more than trade and bronze? What if the palaces of Egypt, the fortresses of the Hittites, and the markets of Canaan concealed technologies so advanced they defy our understanding? Tonight, we step into the heart of this golden age, peeling back the layers to reveal the mysteries that fueled its rise and perhaps sowed the seeds of its downfall. Could the very forces that lifted these civilizations to greatness have been their undoing? Let us journey to Egypt, where the Nile River carved a path of life through the desert. Here, pharaohs like Ramses III ruled as divine beings, their power rooted in the river's annual floods. The Nile was no mere waterway. It was the pulse of a civilization that built the pyramids. Monuments so vast they challenge explanation. How did a people 3,000 years ago move stones weighing tons with such precision? Mainstream historians point to ramps and manpower, but whispers persist of lost techniques, levitation devices, sonic tools, or even aid from beings not of this world. Ancient texts speak of priests wielding divine instruments, and some theorists claim these were technologies gifted by extraterrestrial visitors. Hidden from us by time or design, the pyramids stand as silent witnesses, their secrets locked in stone, daring us to question what we know. Beyond Egypt, the Hittites in modern-day Turkey forged an empire of iron will and bronze might. Their capital, Hattusa, was a fortress city, its walls adorned with carvings of warriors and gods. The Hittites were masters of diplomacy, their scribes recording treaties on clay tablets that survive to this day. These tablets reveal a world connected not just by trade but by ambition. The Hittites traded with distant lands, their chariots rolling across Anatolia, their influence rivaling Egypt's. Yet some speculate their power came from more than earthly means. Could they have uncovered a forgotten science? Perhaps a method to harness energy from the earth itself. Fringe theories suggest the Hittites possessed auriculum, a mysterious metal mentioned by Plato, stronger than bronze and known only to a lost civilization like Atlantis. Was this the secret behind their strength or a myth to cover something greater? Across the Ion, The Mycenaeans of Greece built palaces that echoed with tales of heroes. Myene with its Lion Gate and Chios with its sprawling halls were centers of culture and power. The Macedonians wrote in Linear B, a script that recorded their wealth and conquests. Their ships sailed to Crete and beyond, carrying olive oil, wine, and bronze weapons. But what if their seafaring prowess hid a deeper truth? Some theorists propose the Menians navigated using star maps, not unlike those rumored to be etched in the caves of Cappadocia. Maps that hint at knowledge of the cosmos far beyond their time. Could they have been guided by celestial beings? As ancient Greek myths of gods like Zeus suggest, the story of the Trojan War, immortalized by Homer, may conceal a kernel of truth. A war not just for glory, but for control of ancient secrets. In Canaan, cities like Megiddo thrived as crossroads of commerce. Known as Armageddon in biblical law, Megiddo was a melting pot where traders from Egypt, Mesopotamia, and the Aegean met. Its markets brimmed with goods, pottery from Crete, lapis lazuli from Afghanistan, and gold from Nubia. Excavations reveal a city of wealth with granaries and temples that rivaled those of Egypt. But beneath this prosperity, questions linger. Why do some artifacts from Megiddo bear symbols not found elsewhere? Strange geometric patterns that resemble those on ancient megaliths across Europe. Some speculate these were markers of a secret society, a cabal of priests or merchants who controlled the flow of knowledge. Could they have been guardians of a hidden technology? Perhaps a device to manipulate the elements as hinted in Sumerian tales of divine weapons. The glue that bound these civilizations was trade, a network so intricate it rivaled modern global economies. Copper from Cyprus, forged in fiery furnaces, was the lifeblood of the Bronze Age. Tin, rarer and sourced from distant Afghanistan, was combined with copper to create bronze, the metal that defined weapons, tools, and art. Ships like those found wrecked off the coast of Turkey carried ingots of copper, their shapes unmistakable. These vessels were not mere traders. They were emissaries of a connected world. Letters between kings preserved in the Amarna archives reveal a web of diplomacy. Pharaohs sent gold to Hittite rulers who returned gifts of silver and iron. But what if this trade concealed a darker purpose? Some theorists suggest the movement of metals was a cover for a deeper exchange of forbidden knowledge or relics from a lost age. Could the ships have carried artifacts of immense power like the Ark of the Covenant rumored to hold divine energy? The idea of hidden technology is not new. Ancient texts from Egypt and Mesopotamia describe gods who bestowed wisdom on humanity. In Egypt, the god Thoth was said to grant the secrets of writing and mathematics. In Sumeria, the Anunnaki were credited with teaching metallurgy and agriculture. Some modern theorists drawing from these myths proposed that these gods were extraterrestrial visitors sharing advanced knowledge with select elites. The pyramids with their precise alignment to the stars and the Hittite tablets with their detailed astronomical records fuel such speculation. Could the Bronze Age have been a time when humanity stood on the brink of a technological leap only to have it snatched away? Some claim a secret society akin to the Illuminati suppressed this knowledge to maintain control. A theory echoed in modern conspiracies about hidden technologies. This interconnected world was fragile, its prosperity a double-edged sword. The reliance on trade meant that a single disruption could ripple across empires. If Cyprus's copper mines faltered, weapons could not be forged. If Afghanistan's tin roots were cut, bronze production halted. Excavations show that many cities hoarded grain, a sign of looming scarcity. In Egypt, the Nile's floods were less predictable, as geologists like Mark Mlin have shown through sediment studies. The river's contraction around 1200 before Common Era weakened Egypt's breadbasket. Could this fragility have been exploited? Some speculate that rival powers or even a shadowy group within sabotaged trade routes to destabilize empires. The collapse of Ugarit, a key trading hub in Syria, shows signs of deliberate destruction. Fires set not by invaders but from within. Was this the work of betrayers or a calculated move to reset the world order? The prosperity of the Bronze Age also bred hubris. Kings built ever grander monuments from Egypt's temples to my Cyclopean walls. But these projects drained resources, leaving societies vulnerable. In Egypt, Ramses III's lavish constructions, like his temple at Medinet Habu, strained the treasury. Some theorists suggest this extravagance was a distraction, a way for elites to mask growing unrest. Others point to the rise of secret cults like those hinted at in Canaanite texts, which may have challenged royal authority. These cults, some say, practiced rituals tied to celestial events, perhaps seeking to harness cosmic forces. Could their actions have angered the gods or invited catastrophe from beyond? The alignment of Bronze Age structures with constellations like Orion raises questions about their true purpose. As we gaze into this lost world, the line between history and mystery blurs. The Late Bronze Age was a time of light and shadow where humanity's triumphs hid secrets that may never be fully uncovered. Were the pyramids built with alien aid? As some claim, did the Hittites and Macedonians wield technologies we cannot fathom? Was there a global conspiracy, a precursor to modern tales of control that orchestrated the era's end? These questions linger, pulling us deeper into the enigma. By the way, dear listeners, where are you joining us from tonight? Is it midnight under the stars in New York or dawn breaking over Sydney? Let us know what time it is where you are as we journey together into the shadows of the past. In the twilight of the Bronze Age, 200 years ago, a shadow fell across the Mediterranean. Cities burned, empires trembled, and a name echoed through the ruins. The Sea Peoples carved into the stone of Pharaoh Ramses III's temple at Medinet Habu. Their story is one of destruction, a horde of invaders who toppled civilizations with fire and sword. But were they truly the merciless barbarians of ancient texts, or something far more enigmatic? Were they a unified army, a desperate band of refugees, or agents of a cosmic force we cannot comprehend? Their origins remain a riddle, their motives shrouded in mystery. Some whisper they were survivors of a lost world, perhaps Atlantis itself, driven by catastrophe to reshape history. Others claim their actions hint at a conspiracy, a hidden hand guiding their path. The inscriptions at Medinet Habu paint a vivid picture. Around 1200 before Common Era, Egypt faced a crisis unlike any before. Ramses III, a warrior pharaoh who had ruled for 3 decades, recorded a wave of invaders sweeping through the Mediterranean. The texts described the Sea Peoples as a relentless force laying waste to the Hittite Empire, the cities of Canaan, and the Macedonian strongholds of Greece. They burned Ugarit in Syria, reduced Troy to ashes, and left a trail of devastation before turning their sights on Egypt. The carvings depict them in feathered helmets, wielding spears and swords, their ships slicing through the waves. Ramses claimed victory, repelling them in a great battle at the Nile Delta. But at a cost. Egypt's northern territories, including the vital stronghold of Megiddo, were lost, and the empire never fully recovered. The story seems straightforward. Invaders brought chaos. Yet the deeper we dig, the less certain it becomes. Who were the Sea Peoples? The Egyptian texts name tribes Peliset, Jak, Sharon, Denyon, but their homelands are a mystery. Some scholars link the Peliset to the Philistines of biblical fame, suggesting origins in Crete or the Ion. The Shurdan may hail from Sardinia, the Cheka from Sicily, and the Danaion from Anatolia or even distant Greece. But these are guesses pieced together from fragments of pottery and scattered clues. No single homeland unites them. No clear motive explains their rampage. Were they a coordinated force or a chaotic mix of peoples thrown together by circumstance? The lack of answers fuels speculation. Some propose they were pirates banding together to exploit a weakening world. Others see them as refugees fleeing a catastrophe that shattered their homes. But a bolder theory persists. Could they have been survivors of Atlantis, the mythical island described by Plato, driven to conquest after their world sank beneath the waves? The Atlantis connection is tantalizing. Plato, writing 800 years after the collapse, described a lost civilization of unmatched power destroyed by a cataclysm around 9,000 years earlier. Modern scholars dismiss the timeline but point to the volcanic eruption of Santorini around 1600 before Common Era. This explosion obliterated the Minoan civilization, sending tsunamis across the Mediterranean. Could survivors displaced by this disaster have formed the sea centuries later? Excavations at Santorini reveal a city frozen in time, its fresco depicting ships and warriors eerily similar to those in Egyptian art. Some theorists go further, suggesting Atlantis was not an island, but a maritime empire, its remnants scattered across the Mediterranean, uniting as the sea peoples to reclaim their legacy. The idea is speculative, yet the absence of concrete evidence keeps the door open to wonder. Another layer of mystery emerges from ancient texts beyond Egypt. Sumerian tablets from Mesopotamia speak of strange omens, lights in the sky, gods descending to earth. Could these be clues to extraterrestrial involvement? Fringe theorists drawing from ancient astronaut hypotheses argue the sea peoples were guided by otherworldly beings, perhaps using advanced navigation or weaponry to wreak havoc. Egyptian carvings show their ships with sleek designs unlike the clunky vessels of the time. Were these the product of lost technology or aid from beyond the stars? The notion stretches credble, but it resonates with myths of divine intervention. The Greeks spoke of Poseidon, god of the sea, stirring chaos. Could these stories mask a truth too strange for history to record? The sea people's actions suggest more than random violence. Archaeological evidence paints a grim picture. Cities like Ugarit and Hazor were not just destroyed, but systematically burned. Their walls toppled with precision. This was no mere raid. It was obliteration. Yet some sites show no signs of battle, only abandonment. Did the sea peoples always fight? Or did fear of their approach empty cities before they arrived? At Megiddo, excavations reveal ovens built inside the city gates, a desperate measure by a population under siege. Refugees crowded within only to see their city torched. But who lit the fires? Some suggest internal betrayal, perhaps local factions aligning with the sea peoples to overthrow their rulers. Could a secret society hidden within these civilizations have orchestrated the chaos? Much like modern conspiracies about global elites, the environmental backdrop adds another twist. Scientists like Daphne Longut have uncovered evidence of a prolonged drought starting around 1250 before Common Era. Pollen records from the Dead Sea show a collapse in tree growth, signaling arid conditions that starved crops. In Greece, stalagmites from Skopalos caves confirm centuries of reduced rainfall, aligning with the fall of Mycenaean palaces. This drought crippled the trade networks that sustained the Bronze Age, cutting off copper and tin supplies. Hungry and desperate populations may have turned to migration, swelling the ranks of the sea peoples. But were they invaders seizing opportunity or victims fleeing a dying world? The Egyptian texts call them aggressors, but Ramses' propaganda may have twisted the truth. Some scholars argue they were displaced farmers and fishermen driven by famine to seek new lands. Their invasion of Egypt could have been a migration, not a conquest, a plea for survival met with swords. This raises a chilling question. Was the sea people's story manipulated? Ramses' inscriptions glorify his victory, but they may conceal a more complex reality. Egyptian records are silent on the suffering within their border strikes, tomb robberies, and a failing Nile. By casting the Sea Peoples as villains, Ramses could deflect blame from his own struggles. Some theorists suggest a deeper conspiracy. What if the Sea Peoples were scapegoats, blamed for a collapse engineered by internal forces? Ancient texts hint at unrest among priests and nobles who may have seen the drought as a chance to reshape power. Could they have allied with outsiders using the Sea Peoples as a tool to destabilize rivals? The idea echoes modern tales of false flag operations where chaos is sown to justify control. The mystery deepens with the artifacts left behind. Pottery found at Philistine sites in Canaan bears Macedonian designs suggesting ties to Greece. Weapons and armor resemble those of Iron warriors. Yet some bear unique marking symbols not found in any known culture. Could these be relics of a forgotten civilization? Perhaps a maritime empire that vanished before history could name it. Some speculate the Sea Peoples carried knowledge from a lost age. Perhaps navigation techniques or metallurgical secrets, only to see them buried in the ashes of their conquests. Excavations of shipwrecks off Turkey reveal cargoes of copper ingots. Their shapes standardized across the Mediterranean. Were these ships part of a coordinated effort or the last gasp of a collapsing trade network? The wrecks hold no answers, only questions that pull us deeper into the unknown. The Sea People's legacy is one of paradox. They were both destroyers and creators. After their wave of destruction, some settled in Canaan, becoming the Philistines of biblical law. Their culture blended with local traditions, leaving traces in pottery, architecture, and even language. Were they conquerors who adapted or refugees who rebuilt? The lack of written records from their perspective leaves us guessing. Some theorists propose they were part of a larger cycle, a cosmic reset orchestrated by forces beyond human control. Ancient myths across cultures speak of great floods, fires, and upheavals. Could the Sea Peoples have been agents of such a cycle, guided by fate or design? Modern parallels like migrations driven by climate change make their story hauntingly relevant. Are we too facing a tide of chaos with answers hidden in the past? As we navigate this labyrinth of history, the Sea Peoples remain elusive, their truth slipping through our fingers like sand. Were they invaders, victims, or pawns in a greater game? Did they wield lost technologies? Or were they driven by desperation? The ruins they left behind burned cities, sunken ships, silent scripts, whisper of secrets we may never fully grasp. 200 years ago, the Mediterranean world basked in the glow of bronze and ambition. But beneath the surface, the very air and earth conspired against it. Droughts gripped the land, rivers withered, and crops failed, setting the stage for collapse. But was this a mere whim of nature, or something more profound? A curse woven into the fabric of the planet itself? Could the skies have unleashed a vengeance through comets or volcanoes that doomed empires? The first whispers of this environmental enigma come from the depths of the Dead Sea, where sediments hold secrets older than the pyramids. Daphna Longut, a researcher at the University of Tel Aviv, delved into these layers, extracting pollen grains like messages from a forgotten time. These microscopic relics, each a unique signature of ancient plants, paint a picture of abundance turned to desolation. Around 1250 before Common Era, the pollen of Mediterranean trees, pines, pistachios plummeted, signaling a shift to drier, harsher conditions. The landscape, once lush with precipitation, became a parched wasteland. This was no fleeting dry spell. It endured for centuries, starving the fields that fed empires. In Canaan, cities like Megiddo, once thriving bread baskets, saw their agricultural output dwindle. forcing adaptations like resilient cattle breeds. But why this sudden change? Scientists point to cooler sea surface temperatures in the Mediterranean, reducing evaporation and rainfall. Yet some wonder if a celestial intruder, a comet streaking across the sky, triggered this cooling, much like theories surrounding the Younger Dust event millennia earlier, where an impact is said to have plunged the world into cold. Venturing northward, to the Sea of Galilee, the evidence mounts here. Undisturbed sediments yield pollen that tells of vanishing forests aligning with the destruction waves around 1250 before Common Era. Israel Finkelstein, an archaeologist at Tel Aviv University, cross-referenced these findings with timelines of ruined cities from northern Syria to Megiddo itself. The drought's timeline matches the burn layers and abandoned settlements, suggesting it fueled unrest and migration. But beneath this scientific narrative lies a layer of intrigue. Could volcanic eruptions like the cataclysmic blast of Santorini centuries before have lingered in the atmosphere, blocking sunlight and exacerbating the chill? The Atlantis myth tied to Santorini's destruction. Whispers of a similar fate. A paradise lost to fire and ash. Its refugees perhaps becoming the sea peoples. Some theorists posit that multiple volcanoes or even a volcanic winter cursed the Earth. A planetary retribution for humanity's hubris. Deeper into the heart of Greece, the puzzle intensifies. Martin Finn at the University of UPS analyzed stalagmites from a cave on the Peloponnese. Their layers like pages in a geological diary. Uranium dating revealed precise timelines showing a 200-year decline in rainfall leading to a complete halt in growth around the collapse era. No water dripped in the cave, mirroring the parched lands above. This drought coincided with the fall of Mainian centers where palaces like Pios were destroyed and never rebuilt. The inability to recover speaks to a systemic failure amplified by the interconnected world of the Bronze Age. But what if this was no accident? Fringe ideas suggest earthquake storms. Chains of seismic events triggered by shifting plates as proposed by Eric Klein. Could these quakes combined with drought have been a curse of the Earth? A geological uprising against overreaching civilizations. Some link it to cosmic impacts, theorizing a comet fragment around 1200 before Common Era scattered debris, cooling the planet and inviting famine. Crossing to the Nile's banks. The story takes a poignant turn. Egypt, the enduring giant, felt the drought's bite through its lifeblood river. Mark Mlin's luminescence dating of Nile sediments uncovers a contraction between 1280 and 1220 before Common Era, leaving fields barren and stores depleted. The annual floods, once reliable, faltered, echoing a prior event 200 years ago that ended the Old Kingdom. This pattern of rapid climate shifts colder poles, drier equators, hints at planetary cycles perhaps influenced by solar activity or volcanic veils. Yet the mystery deepens with tales of the 2-Kir event, a mega drought that toppled ancient regimes. Could these be orchestrated by unseen forces like modern conspiracies of geoengineering? Theorists speculate that ancient elites, aware of these cycles, manipulated resources to consolidate power, turning nature's curse into a tool of control. The broader Mediterranean canvas reveals a symphony of suffering. In Turkey's Lake Van and Syria sites, scholars like those studying pollen and isotopes confirm drier conditions across the region. Lee Drake's work on rainfall-dependent farming shows how even small changes devastated societies where 99% were farmers. Prolonged drought led to famine, migration, and conflict, a chain reaction that unraveled empires. But intertwined with this is the enigma of plankton fossils from Mediterranean seabed cores indicating a shift from warm to cold species around the collapse. This cooling, reducing precipitation may stem from melting alpine glaciers or Siberian winds. But some point to extraterrestrial causes. A comet's tail dusting the atmosphere with particles that block the sun. The Younger Dust hypothesis, while focused on an earlier era, inspires parallels. An impact event causing abrupt change. A cosmic curse that resets civilizations. This curse of the Earth extends to theories of volcanic fury. The eruption of Santorini, though earlier, may have set a precedent, its ash lingering to influence later climates. Other volcanoes, perhaps in Iceland or the Pacific, could have contributed to a global chill as seen in tree ring data from distant lands. Some link this to the Atlantis legend where Plato's tale of a sunken empire mirrors the Bronze Age full destruction by fire, water, and quakes. Could the drought be a lingering echo of such events? A planetary memory of catastrophe. Fringe voices suggest these eruptions were triggered by cosmic alignments or even ancient experiments with forbidden energies. Ideas that blur the line between myth and reality. The human dimension adds poignancy to the puzzle. Farmers watched their fields crack under the sun. Merchants saw trade routes empty and kings grappled with unrest. In Egypt, Ramses III's reign saw strikes and conspiracies. Symptoms of a society strained by scarcity. The drought's grip forced adaptations, intensified farming in Canaan. Resilient crops. But it was too little. Too late. This vulnerability raises questions. Did ancient seers foresee this curse? Prophecies in Mesopotamian texts warn of darkened skies and failed harvests, perhaps inspired by observed cycles. Some theorists claim these were warnings from extraterrestrial sources encoded in myths to guide humanity. The absence of clear records leaves room for imagination, inviting us to ponder if the drought was a test, a purge, or a prelude to rebirth. As we sift through these layers, the role of climate change in the Bronze Age collapse emerges not as a simple fact, but a tapestry of wonder. The droughts born of cooling seas and volcanic veils may have been amplified by cosmic intruders or hidden manipulations. The curse of the Earth whispers of a world where nature and mystery entwine, challenging us to see beyond the surface. Were comets the harbingers? Volcanoes the executioners? Or was there a deeper design? These questions linger, drawing us onward to the unraveling networks and betrayals that followed, where the true enigma awaits, beneath the glittering surface of the Bronze Age, where empires traded treasures across shimmering seas. A delicate web held the world together. 200 years ago, this web of commerce and society was the lifeblood of civilization, linking Egypt's golden courts to the rugged hills of Anatolia and the bustling ports of Canaan. Copper from Cyprus, tin from distant Afghanistan, and luxury goods like lapis lazuli were a network that fueled prosperity. Yet when drought and chaos struck, this web unraveled, plunging societies into darkness. Was this collapse a mere accident of nature? Or did a hidden conspiracy, a shadowy cabal of ancient powers, pull the threads apart? Could the sunken ships and abandoned markets hide relics of a forbidden technology? Perhaps from a lost world like Atlantis. The Bronze Age was a marvel of connectivity. A world where trade routes stretched like arteries across the Mediterranean. Ships laden with copper ingots sailed from Cyprus, their distinctive oxhide shapes found in wrecks off Turkey's coast. Tin, essential for crafting bronze, journeyed from Afghanistan's mountains, a perilous trek through deserts and passes. These metals were the backbone of empires, forged into weapons, tools, and ornaments that define power. In Egypt, pharaohs like Ramses III amassed wealth from Nubian gold and Levantine cedar, their temples adorned with treasures from afar. The Hittites in Anatolia traded iron and textiles, while Mycenae and Greece sent olive oil and pottery to distant shores. Clay tablets from Ugarit and Amanna reveal a flurry of correspondence. Kings bartering goods, negotiating peace, and sealing alliances with gifts. This was no simple exchange. It was a global economy, a delicate balance of trust and ambition. But what if this network was more than it seemed? Some theorists propose it concealed a deeper purpose, a clandestine exchange of knowledge or artifacts too powerful for the common world. Ancient texts hint at divine gifts carried by merchants, objects revered in temples. Could these have been relics of advanced technology? Perhaps from a civilization like Atlantis. The wreck of the Ulubun ship found off Turkey carried not just copper but also glass beads, ivory, and a mysterious gold scarab inscribed with Egyptian hieroglyphs. Some speculate it held secrets, maps, devices, or even energy sources guarded by a select few. Fringe voices suggest a secret society akin to modern tales of the Illuminati controlled this trade, using wealth to manipulate empires. Were these elites orchestrating a grand design only to see it collapse under its own weight? When drought gripped the Mediterranean around 1250 before Common Era, this network buckled. Pollen records as uncovered by Daphne Longut show a parched landscape with crops failing from Greece to Canaan. Mines in Cyprus slowed, their copper output dwindling as water sources dried. Tin roots from Afghanistan, already fragile, were severed by famine-driven unrest. Excavations reveal hoarded grain in cities like Ugarit, a sign of desperation as supplies vanished. Without bronze, armies weakened and economies faltered. Letters between kings preserved in clay grew frantic. Hittite rulers begged Egypt for grain only to receive silence. The Nile itself, as Mark Mlin's sediment studies confirm, contracted, leaving Egypt's fields barren. This was not just a trade disruption. It was a societal earthquake, shaking the foundations of trust that held empires together. The collapse of trade sparked chaos. In Canaan, cities like Hazor and Megiddo saw markets empty, their once vibrant stalls replaced by silence. Merchants, once the lifeblood of commerce, became wanderers, their ships abandoned or sunk. The Uluburan wreck dated to around 1300 before Common Era holds clues to this unraveling. Its cargo meant for distant ports never reached its destination. Some theorists see more than misfortune here. Could sabotage have played a role? Ancient records from Ugarit mention internal strife with scribes noting enemies within before the city burned. Was this the work of rival factions? Perhaps priests or nobles, seeking to seize control amid scarcity. Conspiracy theories suggest a deliberate effort to trade, a power grab by elites who saw drought as an opportunity to reshape the world order. Much like modern tales of orchestrated crisis, society itself began to fracture. In Egypt under Ramses III, the first recorded labor strike erupted with workers demanding unpaid wages. Tomb robberies surged, a desperate act in a land where sacred burials were once untouchable. These were not mere crimes but symptoms of a deeper malaise, a society losing faith in its leaders. In Mycenaean Greece, palaces were abandoned, their Linear B records left unfinished. The Hittites, once a superpower, saw their capital, Hattusa, deserted, its archives silent. This social collapse raises a haunting question. Was it driven by hunger alone or by betrayal? Some speculate that secret cults hinted at in Canaanite texts incited unrest, promising salvation through forbidden rituals. Others propose a more sinister plot, an ancient cabal, manipulating famine to topple kings and install new rulers, a precursor to modern conspiracies about global control. The artifacts of this era fuel the mystery. Sunken ships like Ulubun and Cape Galadonia carried cargoes that hint at lost knowledge. A bronze dagger from Ulubun, inlaid with gold, suggests craftsmanship beyond the era's norm. Could it be a relic of a forgotten technology, perhaps tied to myths of Atlantis or Orikel? Some theorists claim these wrecks conceal more devices or texts that could unlock ancient secrets. The absence of written records from the sea peoples themselves adds to the enigma. Did they destroy evidence to hide their origins? Or were their stories erased by victors like Ramses? The idea of a lost archive buried beneath the Mediterranean captivates the imagination, suggesting a truth too dangerous to survive. This collapse was not just economic, but existential. The loss of trade severed the cultural ties that defined the Bronze Age. Languages faded as scribes no longer recorded their tales. Artisans without materials abandoned their crafts. The interconnected world, once a marvel, became a liability, as empires could no longer support one another. Some see a cosmic irony here, a curse of connection, where globalization sowed the seeds of ruin. Fringe theories take it further, suggesting extraterrestrial interference disrupted trade, perhaps to reset humanity's path. Ancient Sumerian texts with their tales of celestial beings are cited as evidence of such meddling. While speculative, these ideas highlight the fragility of the Bronze Age world, a mirror to our own interconnected age. The fallout reshaped history. The Dark Age that followed saw survivors scatter, some becoming the Philistines of biblical law, others fading into obscurity. The loss of trade networks left a void, filled centuries later by iron and new powers. But the questions linger. Was the collapse a natural consequence of drought or orchestrated downfall? Did hidden elites wielding knowledge we cannot fathom pull the strings? Amid the crumbling remnants of a once mighty world, Egypt stood as a solitary beacon, battered yet unbroken. 200 years ago, while empires around it dissolved into chaos, the land of the Nile clung to life, its secrets guarded by the sands and the shadows of pharaonic rule. Ramses III, a king forged in the fires of war, navigated this storm, but his reign hid depths of intrigue and deception. What allowed Egypt to survive when others fell, and what hidden plots simmered within its palaces, threatening to unravel even this resilient kingdom. Could the survival itself be a facade, masking a conspiracy that reached into the heart of power? Ramses III ascended the throne in a time of splendor, inheriting an Egypt that had endured for over 2,000 years. His predecessors, Akhenaten, with his revolutionary faith, Nefertiti with her enigmatic beauty, Tutankhamun with his cursed tomb, and Ramses the Great with his monumental legacy had built a kingdom of unparalleled wealth. The Nile's floods nourished vast fields, turning desert into bounty, while trade with Canaan and Nubia filled treasuries with gold and ivory. Ramses III, ruling for 3 decades, continued this tradition, commissioning grand temples and leading campaigns that expanded Egypt's influence. Yet, as the Bronze Age world fractured, Egypt's survival was no accident. It stemmed from strategic foresight, intensifying farming in Canaan's Jezreel Valley, breeding resilient cattle, and fortifying strongholds like Megiddo. These measures buffered against the drought ravaging the Mediterranean, allowing Egypt to weather the storm that drowned others. But was there more to this resilience? Some speculate that ancient priests, guardians of esoteric knowledge, employed rituals or devices to summon the Nile's floods, a hidden science veiled in myth. The temple at Medinet Haru stands as a testament to Ramses' triumphs, its walls etched with scenes of victory over the Sea Peoples. Around 1200 before Common Era, these marauders assaulted Egypt's borders, but Ramses repelled them in a naval clash at the Delta. The inscriptions boast of his prowess, depicting chained captives and shattered ships. Yet, archaeology tells a subtler tale. Many cities in Canaan under Egyptian control were abandoned rather than conquered, their ruins free of battle scars. This suggests the Sea Peoples were not always aggressors, but migrants seeking refuge. Their invasion, a desperate plea, met with force. Ramses' propaganda amplified the threat, portraying himself as a divine savior. Could this exaggeration mask internal weaknesses? Theorists proposed that Ramses knew of the drought's cause, perhaps a cosmic event like a comet, and used the crisis to consolidate power, suppressing dissent under the guise of external peril. Egypt's survival exacted a toll, weakening its core. The Nile, once reliable, faltered as monsoon rains diminished, as evidenced by Mark Mlin's sediment analyses. Fields Leo, stores depleted, an unrest brewed, workers on royal projects, unpaid and hungry, staged history's first strike, sitting in protest at Dar el-Medina. This act of defiance signaled a society fracturing where faith in the pharaoh waned. Tomb robberies proliferated, desecrating sacred sites once protected by curses and guards. These were not random thefts but organized efforts perhaps funded by corrupt officials. Some whisper of a black market in antiquities where stolen artifacts held not just gold but forbidden knowledge. Scrolls of alchemy or star maps hinting at extraterrestrial origins. Could these robberies have been a cover for retrieving hidden relics guarded by a secret order within the priesthood? At the heart of this weakening lay the enigma of Ramses III himself. A warrior king. He expanded Egypt's borders and built lavishly. But his courts simmered with intrigue. The Haram conspiracy detailed in judicial papyri unveiled a plot to assassinate him, led by one of his wives, and involving courtiers, magicians, and even palace guards. The scheme aimed to install her son, Pentawere, on the throne. Poisons were brewed, wax figures cursed with spells, and assassins recruited. Ramses survived the attempt, but died soon after, his mummy revealing a slit throat, a wound hidden for millennia until modern CT scans uncovered it. Was this the work of jealous consorts, or a deeper cabal? Some theorists link it to a secret society of priests, resentful of Ramses' military focus over spiritual matters, seeking to restore balance through racide. Others speculate extraterrestrial influence, citing Egyptian myths of gods meddling in royal affairs, perhaps to prevent humanity from uncovering cosmic truths. The conspiracy's details tantalize. Court records describe trials where conspirators confessed under torture, naming over 40 accomplices. Magic was invoked, dolls inscribed with curses, potions from forbidden herbs. This blend of politics and sorcery raises questions. Were these spells mere superstition or echoes of lost sciences? Ancient Egypt revered magic as a force of creation with priests wielding staffs said to part waters or summon plagues. Could the conspirators have accessed such power? Perhaps from hidden texts in the library of Alexandria's precursors. Fringe ideas suggest the plot was tied to Atlantis survivors, infiltrating the court to destabilize Egypt and hide their origins. The mummy of Pentawere, found deformed and mummified crudely, hints at a rushed execution. His body denied proper rites, a curse in itself. Egypt's weakening extended beyond the palace. Withdrawal from Canaan, including Megiddo, marked the loss of vital grain supplies. Excavations at Megiddo reveal a city under siege, its gates blocked by ovens, refugees crammed within. The final torching suggests not just invasion, but internal collapse, perhaps sparked by famine-driven riots. Ramses' efforts to secure food through intensified farming, evidenced by ancient DNA of drought-resistant cattle, proved insufficient. This retreat signaled Egypt's isolation. Its once global reach diminished. Some see a pattern of deliberate sabotage. Elites hoarding resources, exacerbating scarcity to control the masses. Conspiracy theories posit a global network where Bronze Age powers colluded to engineer downfall. A precursor to modern tales of elite control. The legacy of Ramses's reign is one of paradox, victory amid decline. His temple stands eternal, yet his death ushered in turmoil. Successors faced invasions and economic woes. Egypt's golden age fading. The Haram conspiracy with its web of deceit invites endless speculation. Was it a family feud or a symptom of cosmic interference? Myths of Osiris murdered and resurrected mirror Ramses' fate, perhaps encoding a warning. Some link it to star alignments, suggesting the plot timed with celestial events for ritual power. These ideas, while speculative, keep the mystery alive, urging us to question if Egypt's survival was a Pyrrhic victory, its secrets buried with its kings. As we leave the sands of Egypt, the threads of conspiracy and decline lead us forward to the dawn of iron and the rebirth of a shattered world. The enigmas of Ramses and his court remind us that even in survival, shadows linger, hiding truths that time may yet reveal. Speaking of time, dear listeners, where are you tuning in from as we unravel these ancient secrets? Is it late evening in London or perhaps early morning in Tokyo? Share with us where you are and what hour it is there as we continue to explore the mysteries that echo through the ages. 3,000 years ago, the world emerged from a long darkness, its shattered empires giving way to a new era defined by a metal both humble and revolutionary: iron. From the island of Cyprus to the shores of Greece, this democratic metal reshaped societies, empowering farmers, warriors, and dreamers. But how did this transformation begin? Was iron's rise a triumph of human ingenuity, or did it carry whispers of otherworldly guidance? Could the ships that sailed these new horizons have carried secrets from a lost civilization? Perhaps even blueprints from the stars. The fall of the Bronze Age left a void, its intricate trade networks severed, its cities reduced to ruins. Copper and tin, once the lifeblood of empires, became scarce as drought and chaos disrupted mines and routes. Yet from this desolation, iron emerged as a savior. Unlike bronze, which relied on distant resources, iron was abundant, found in the very soil beneath people's feet. On Cyprus, the island that once fueled the Bronze Age with copper, miners stumbled upon iron oxides, red and yellow ochre that could be smelted into a metal stronger and more versatile than its predecessor. By 1,000 before Common Era, this discovery ignited a revolution. Farmers wielded iron plows to till harder soils. Warriors brandished iron swords that held their edge, and artisans crafted tools that transformed daily life. But was this breakthrough purely accidental? Some speculate that Cyprus, a crossroads of cultures, harbored knowledge from a forgotten source, perhaps a civilization like Atlantis, whose metallurgy surpassed human understanding. The island's role as a hub of innovation raises tantalizing questions. Archaeological evidence from Cyprus uncovered by experts like Vasiliki Kasanidou shows early iron production alongside copper smelting. Furnaces once used for bronze were adapted to forge iron, suggesting a rapid technological leap. Could this have been guided by external forces? Ancient myths speak of gods like Hesus, the Greek smith of divine fire, or Vulcan, proposing that extraterrestrial visitors shared advanced smelting techniques. Their presence encoded in ununiform tablets describing sky gods who gifted knowledge. The precision of early iron tools found in cryot graves fuels speculation. How did a recovering world master such a complex process so quickly? Was there a hidden manual perhaps carried on ships that vanished beneath the waves? These ships, the arteries of the new Iron Age, carried more than goods, they bore the seeds of rebirth. The wreck of the Kionia, discovered off Cyprus and dated to around 385 before Common Era, offers a glimpse into this era's maritime prowess. Built with techniques honed centuries earlier, its cedar hull and square sail navigated treacherous seas, carrying wine, oil, and perhaps secrets. Gerasimos Charis, captain of the Kionia Liberty replica, tested its capabilities, revealing it could withstand storms of 35 knots and sail with favorable winds. Ancient mariners guided by stars and birds connected distant lands from the Aegean to the Levant. But what if their navigation relied on more than earthly means? Some theorists citing Sumerian star charts and Egyptian celestial alignments suggest these sailors used devices, perhaps crystalline compasses or astrolabes passed down from a lost civilization. The Khayan's cargo, including ampho with unfamiliar symbols, hints at a trade in esoteric knowledge, perhaps maps to uncharted realms. The transition to iron reshaped society, decentralizing power. Bronze, controlled by elites through scarce resources, gave way to iron, accessible to all. This shift, dubbed the democratic metal by historians, empowered smaller communities. In Greece, new settlements arose, their iron tools enabling farming on marginal lands. In the Levant, the Philistines, possibly descendants of the Sea Peoples, adopted iron, forging a distinct identity. This democratization sparked cultural flourishing with new alphabets and trade routes emerging. Yet, some see a darker side. Could the rapid spread of iron technology have been orchestrated? Conspiracy theories propose a secret order akin to modern Freemasons guided its dissemination to rebuild society under new control. Ancient texts from Ugarit mention keepers of the forge, a cryptic reference to a guild that may have guarded metallurgical secrets. Were they human or agents of a higher power? The Maritime Revolution amplified this transformation. The Mediterranean's intricate coastline with its islands and harbors became a highway for ideas. Cyprus at the crossroads of north-south and east-west routes thrived as a melting pot. Excavations reveal artifacts from Greece, Egypt, and Mesopotamia, suggesting a cultural exchange that birthed the Iron Age. But the Corinea wreck raises questions. Why did it sink? Was it caught in a storm or sabotaged to protect its cargo? Some speculate it carried texts or devices from a lost era. Perhaps Atlantean relics meant to spark a new age. The absence of such finds fuels theories of a cover-up, with modern archaeologists accused of suppressing evidence to maintain historical narratives. These ideas, while speculative, keep the mystery alive, urging us to look beneath the surface. This transition was not without cost. The shift to iron disrupted old hierarchies, sparking tensions. In Greece, the collapse of Mycenaean palaces gave way to smaller city-states, their iron-based economies fostering independence. In Egypt, the loss of Canaan's resources weakened pharaonic control, as seen in Ramses III struggles. Social upheaval followed, with new leaders rising from the ashes. Some see a cosmic pattern here, a cycle of destruction and rebirth orchestrated by forces beyond human ken. Ancient myths of a world forge where gods reshaped humanity echo in these changes. Could the Iron Age have been a reset guided by extraterrestrial hands to steer civilization toward a new path? The stars watched by ancient mariners may hold the answer, their silent light a beacon to truths we are only beginning to grasp. Were the smiths of Cyprus guided by divine or alien hands? Did the ships of the Mediterranean carry secrets that could rewrite history? The answers may lie in the forges, the wrecks, or the heavens themselves, waiting to guide us deeper into the unknown. The embers of the Bronze Age had barely cooled when a new spark ignited across the Mediterranean, kindling the rise of cities that would redefine the ancient world. Among them, Athens emerged as a beacon, its rocky acropolis cradling a society that birthed a concept both revolutionary and enigmatic: democracy. 800 years before Common Era. As the Iron Age dawned, Athens transformed from scattered villages into a bustling city-state, its power fueled by silver mines and a bold experiment in governance. But was this rise a triumph of human will, or did it conceal a deeper mystery? Could Athens' democracy have been a facade orchestrated by a hidden elite to control a restless populace? Or did its origins tie to ancient secrets, perhaps a lost treasure or celestial blueprint? Athens, perched on the rugged plains of Attica, began as a humble cluster of settlements. By 750 before Common Era, These villages coalesced around the Acropolis, a natural fortress that offered protection and prestige. The city's growth was no accident. It was fueled by the rich silver veins of Lorien 26 miles southeast. These mines, worked by thousands of slaves, produced gleaming coins that became symbols of Athenian power. The wealth funded towering walls, a navy to patrol the Ion, and a port at Piraeus that welcomed grain from the Black Sea. By 450, before Common Era, Athens boasted 40,000 citizens and 200,000 residents in its surrounding lands, a metropolis dwarfing most rivals. Its Parthenon, carved from fine marble, crowned the Acropolis, a testament to ambition. Yet beneath this grandeur, questions simmer. How did a small city achieve such dominance so swiftly? Was there a hidden force at play? The silver of Lorien was Athens's lifeblood, but its origins spark intrigue. Geological surveys reveal the mines were exploited with uncanny precision, their tunnels cutting deep into the earth. Some speculate this efficiency suggests knowledge beyond the era's grasp, perhaps inherited from a lost civilization. Legends whisper of King Solomon's mines, a mythical source of wealth tied to biblical law. Could Lorien silver have been part of this fabled hoard? Its discovery guided by ancient maps or cryptic texts. Fringe theorists propose that Athenian miners used tools or techniques from a forgotten source, perhaps the same divine instruments credited to Egypt's pyramid builders. The coins minted from the silver stamped with Athena's owl were renowned for their purity, trusted across the Mediterranean. But were they mere currency or symbols of a deeper pact binding Athens to a secret order? Democracy, Athens's greatest legacy, adds another layer of mystery. By 600, before Common Era, the city rejected tyranny for a system where citizens voted on laws and leaders. This radical shift, credited to reformers like Solon and Cleans, empowered free men to govern themselves, a stark contrast to the monarchies of Egypt or Persia. The Agora, Athens' bustling marketplace, became a stage for debate where ideas clashed under the open sky. Yet, this people's rule raises questions. Only a fraction of the population, free male citizens, could vote, excluding women, slaves, and foreigners. Was democracy a genuine leap toward freedom, or a cleverly designed illusion? Some theorists suggest it was a social experiment orchestrated by a hidden elite akin to modern Freemasons to pacify a restless populace while maintaining control. Ancient texts hint at secretive councils like the Areopagus whose influence lingered behind the democratic facade. The mechanics of Athenian democracy fuel speculation. Voting was conducted with pottery shards called ostra in a process that could exile unpopular figures. Excavations reveal thousands of these shards, some inscribed with names and curses, suggesting a society rife with intrigue. Could these votes have been manipulated by a select few, perhaps priests or oracles who claimed divine insight? Greek myths speak of the oracle at Delhi whose cryptic prophecies swayed city policies. Some proposed the oracle was a front for a secret society, pulling strings from the shadows. The alignment of Athenian temples with constellations like Orion hints at esoteric knowledge perhaps guiding the city's rise. Was democracy a gift from the gods or a calculated move to harness the masses? Athens's cultural explosion adds to the enigma. The city became a hub of philosophy, theater, and art with figures like Socrates and Aeschylus shaping Western thought. The Library of Alexandria, though later, drew inspiration from Athenian archives, suggesting a repository of knowledge. Some speculate these archives held texts from a lost era, perhaps Atlantean scrolls or star maps guarded by a scholarly elite. The sudden flowering of ideas seems almost supernatural, prompting theories of extraterrestrial influence. Ancient astronaut proponents point to Greek myths of Prometheus who stole fire from the gods as metaphors for alien technology sparking cultural leaps. Could Athens's golden age have been seeded by such forces? Its democracy a byproduct of cosmic intervention. The city's maritime reach amplified its power, but also its mysteries. Athenian ships funded by silver sailed to colonies in the Black Sea and southern Italy, spreading culture and commerce. The port of Piraeus became a gateway importing grain to feed a growing population. Yet, archaeological finds like A with unfamiliar symbols suggest trade in more than goods. Could these vessels have carried relics of a lost civilization, perhaps from the Minoans or a mythical Atlantis? The rapid expansion of Athenian colonies from Syracuse to Cyrene hints at a coordinated plan possibly guided by secret knowledge. Some theorists claim a maritime brotherhood akin to the Knights Templar controlled these routes, hiding their true purpose behind trade. The rise of Athens was not without shadows. The reliance on slave labor in Laurian's mines bred unrest with thousands toiling in brutal conditions. Social tensions simmered as democracy enriched citizens but ignored the oppressed. Some see parallels to modern conspiracies where elites use freedom as a veneer for control. The sudden wealth and power of Athens also drew envy, setting the stage for conflicts like the Peloponnesian War. Could this have been part of a larger design with hidden forces sowing discord to reshape the Mediterranean? The myths of Athena, goddess of wisdom, may encode a truth, a guiding intelligence behind the city's rise. Whether divine, human, or otherworldly, as Athens ascended, its democratic experiment and silver-fueled empire reshaped the ancient world, paving the way for Rome's dominance. Yet, the mysteries of its origins, its mines, its governance, its cultural leap linger like shadows on the Acropolis. Was democracy a bold step or a cunning mask? Did Laurian Silva hide a deeper secret tied to lost treasures or celestial guides? These questions pull us deeper, urging us to explore the Iron Age's unfolding saga where new cities and powers await. And speaking of exploring, dear listeners, if you're captivated by these ancient riddles, consider subscribing to Codex of the Lost and ringing the bell to join us for more journeys into the unknown. Where are you tuning in from tonight? Is it the quiet evening in Athens, Georgia, or the early dawn in Athens, Greece? Let us know what time it is where you are as we chase these timeless secrets together. From the fertile plains of Italy, a city rose like a phoenix from the Mediterranean's turbulent past. Its foundations laid in myth and ambition. Rome, born around 753 before Common Era, began as a humble settlement on the Tiber River, its 7 hills cradling a people destined for greatness. By 509 before Common Era, the monarchy fell, giving birth to the Republic, a system of checks and balances that propelled Rome to conquer the Italian peninsula. Under Augustus in 27 before Common Era, the empire dawned, ushering in Pax Romana, a 200-year golden age of peace, prosperity, and expansion. But what secrets propelled this explosive growth? Was Rome's endurance a product of military might? Or did it harbor eternal mysteries, whispers of a hidden continuity that persists to this day? Could the eternal city truly be eternal? Its influence woven into modern shadows through the Vatican or global elites. Rome's location was its first stroke of fortune or perhaps design. Straddling the Tiber, it commanded trade routes between Etruscan north and Greek south, its hills providing natural defenses. Early Romans, a mix of Latins, Sabines, and Etruscans, built a society of farmers and warriors, their legends speaking of Romulus and Remus, suckled by a wolf. By the Republic's birth, Rome had subdued its neighbors, rewarding veterans with conquered lands. Colonies like Cosa, founded in the 3rd century before Common Era, dotted the landscape, blending military outposts with agricultural hubs. Elizabeth Fentress surveys revealed dozens of small farms, their centuration grids echoing the American West's land divisions. This expansion was systematic. But was it guided by more than strategy? Some theorists citing Etruscan influences suggest Rome inherited esoteric knowledge, divination rituals, or engineering secrets from a civilization tied to Atlantis. The wolf myth, they claim, symbolizes a pact with ancient forces, its echoes in Rome's emblem hinting at a deeper mystical foundation. The Republic's aggression forged an empire, conquering Italy. Rome integrated defeated peoples as allies, swelling its legions. The Punic Wars against Carthage, spanning 264 to 146 before Common Era, showcased this might. Hannibal's invasion in 218, before Common Era ravaged Italy. But Rome rebuilt, sacking Carthage and claiming Sicily's grain, Spain's silver. This resilience raises questions. How did Rome recover so swiftly? Climate data suggests the Roman climatic optimum, a warm period boosting agriculture, played a role. Yet, some speculate a hidden advantage. Perhaps alchemical knowledge from conquered lands, turning base metals to wealth. Popular mechanics articles propose Rome's secret school, a covert academy training engineers and strategists, its existence veiled in senatorial records. Could this be the precursor to modern secret societies, preserving Rome's essence? Augustus' ascension marked Pax Romana's bloom. As Octavian, he defeated Mark Antony and Cleopatra in 30 before Common Era, annexing Egypt's riches. Renaming himself Augustus, he centralized power while preserving republican illusions. The era brought unprecedented peace with legions guarding frontiers from the Rhine to the Euphrates. Urbanization surged. Rome swelled to 1 million inhabitants, its aqueduct delivering 220 gallons per person daily, more than many modern cities. The Circus Maximus hosted quarters for chariot races. The Colosseum thrilled 60,000 with gladiatorial spectacles. This splendor was funded by tribute and trade. But whispers of mystery abound. Augustus Moralium, aligned with the stars, suggests astrological secrets. Some theorists claim he consulted oracles tied to extraterrestrial wisdom. His reforms are blueprint for eternal rule. Pax Romana's economy boomed as Joe McConnell's ice core data from Greenland reveals. Lead pollution spiked around 27 before Common Era, signaling Iberian silver mining surge. Los Angeles in Spain, scarred by hydraulic techniques, yielded gold through ruin Amamancham mountain destruction. Ply the Elder described it as apocalyptic. But was this engineering human alone? Fringe ideas suggest Roman miners used lost technologies. Perhaps sonic devices from Atlantis to shatter rock. The wealth built roads like the Ion Way spanning 28,600 m, connecting an empire of 50 million. Yet this connectivity hid vulnerabilities. The paradox of progress saw urbanization breed disease with baths spreading infections. Some speculate deliberate contamination, a curse of empire orchestrated by rivals or internal factions. The secret of longevity is Rome's most enduring enigma. Popular mechanics posits Rome never fell but evolved, its influence persisting through the Vatican and banking elites. The Church, adopting Roman structures, became a vessel for this continuity. Constantine's shift to Constantinople in 330 before Common Era and the Western Empire's fall in 476 may have been a ruse, with power relocating eastward while secretly guiding the West. Medieval popes wielded Roman authority, their rituals echoing pagan rites. Some claim underground networks, catacombs, hiding texts and relics preserved Rome's essence, influencing Renaissance thinkers and modern institutions. The Holy Roman Empire, proclaimed in 800, revived the title, while theorists link it to global conspiracies, suggesting Rome's eternal city status is literal, its cabal controlling events from shadows. This theory gains traction from artifacts. The Pantheon's dome, engineered with concrete lost for centuries. Hints at suppressed knowledge. Rediscovered in the Renaissance. It fueled architectural revival. Some speculate Rome's concrete formula involved volcanic ash and secret additives. Perhaps alchemical. The Vatican's archives, holding millions of documents, are rumored to conceal proofs of this continuity texts on ancient tech or extraterrestrial contacts. Forbidden to most, they fuel conspiracies. Does the Church guard Rome's true history, including pacts with otherworldly beings? Myths of Romulus's divine parentage, or Augustus' comet omen, are cited as evidence of cosmic involvement. Rome's social fabric adds intrigue. Citizenship expanded, integrating slaves and conquered peoples, swelling legions. Yet, inequality festered with patricians hoarding wealth. The Gracchi brothers' reforms in the 2nd century before Common Era sparked civil strife, foreshadowing the Republic's end. Julius Caesar's rise and assassination in 44 before Common Era unleashed wars resolved by Augustus. Some see a pattern of engineered chaos with elites using crises to consolidate power. A tactic allegedly persisting today. The Sibylline books, prophetic texts consulted in crisis, were destroyed in 83 before Common Era. Their secrets lost or hidden. Theorists claim copies survive in Vatican vaults, foretelling Rome's eternal reign. Pax Romana's cultural bloom masked mysteries. Literature from Virgil's Aeneid glorifying Rome's destiny to Horace's Odes celebrated imperial ideals. But beneath esoteric traditions thrived mystery cults like Mithraism with underground temples suggesting hidden spiritual networks. Some link these to extraterrestrial law, their rituals echoing Egyptian star worship. Rome's adoption of Greek gods, rebranded as Roman, may have preserved ancient secrets, blending pantheons to control beliefs. As Pax Romana flourished, Rome's explosion reshaped the world, its roads and laws enduring. Yet, the secret of longevity persists with theories of unbroken influence through the Vatican and elites. Did Rome evolve rather than fall? Its essence guiding history. The Pantheon stands eternal, its oculus gazing skyward, perhaps to stars holding the answer. These enigmas draw us forward to the paradoxes and plagues that tested this mighty empire. In the heart of Rome's golden age, an invisible force shaped the empire's ascent, weaving prosperity with threads of environmental fortune and economic might. From the dawn of the Republic in 509 before Common Era to the zenith of Pax Romana under Augustus, Rome harnessed the riches of the earth. Silver from Iberia, gold from Spain, grain from Egypt to forge an empire spanning millions. Yet beneath this triumph, a delicate balance teetered, governed by a climate so favorable it seemed almost ordained. The Roman climatic optimum, a period of warmth and bounty, fueled this expansion, but its origins spark questions. Was this climatic gift a stroke of luck or a manipulated blessing hiding darker truths? Could Rome's relentless exploitation of the earth marked by lead skies and ravaged mountains conceal a conspiracy of poison or a pact with forces beyond nature? Rome's economy was a marvel, a machine of conquest and commerce that dwarfed its predecessors. By the time Augustus claimed power in 27, before Common Era, Rome controlled a vast network, its roads stretching 600 m, linking 50 million people across 3 continents. The Tiber River flowing through the city carried goods from distant lands, wine from Gaul, olive oil from Spain, and grain from Egypt's Nile Delta. The port of Ostia with its massive jetties welcomed ships laden with 400,000 tons of grain annually, feeding a city of 1 million. Joe McConnell's ice core studies from Greenland reveal a surge in lead pollution around this time, a testament to Rome's silver mining in Iberia. The mines of Riot into, worked by tens of thousands, produced silver for coins that fueled trade with India and China. But this wealth raises a chilling question. Was it tainted? Some theorists citing grunge suggest lead from these mines poisoned Rome's elite, driving emperors like Nero to madness. Could this have been deliberate? A slow sabotage by rivals or a hidden cabal? The Roman climatic optimum, spanning roughly 200 before Common Era to 200 Common Era, was the empire's silent partner. Warmer temperatures, as evidenced by Mediterranean plankton fossils, increased evaporation, bringing abundant rainfall. This bounty transformed Italy's fields with vineyards and olive groves thriving in Tuscany. As Elizabeth Fentress excavations at Villita Finestro reveal, grain yields soared, supporting urban growth and legions. The absence of major volcanic eruptions, dubbed the Roman Quiet Period by scientists, ensured stability, unlike the ash clouds that later plagued the empire. Yet, this perfect climate sparked suspicion. Was it purely natural or manipulated? Fringe theories propose ancient weather control, with Roman or priests reading omens using rituals or devices to summon rains. Sumerian texts describing sky gods altering seasons fuel speculation of extraterrestrial influence, suggesting Rome's climate was a gift from beyond. Mining was Rome's economic engine, but its scars tell a tale of hubris. At Lasculus in Spain, Romans pioneered hydraulic mining, channeling 18 million L of water through aqueducts to erode mountains for gold. Pliny the Elder called it ruin montium, a destruction so vast it reshaped the earth. Archaeological surveys reveal a landscape of ravines and spires, a testament to Rome's ambition. But was this technology entirely human? Some theorists citing popular mechanics suggest Romans used lost methods. Perhaps sonic tools or alchemical compounds from a civilization like Atlantis. The precision of their aqueducts, some spanning 50 m, hints at advanced engineering. Could these have been guided by secret texts hidden in Rome's archives? The Sibylline books consulted for divine guidance may have held such secrets. Their destruction in 83 before Common Era raising questions of a cover-up. Lead pollution, as McConnell's ice cores show, was Rome's dark shadow. For every ounce of silver, 10,000 g of lead were released, clouding the skies. This pollution found in Greenland's ice peaked during Pax Romana, correlating with economic growth. But its impact was insidious. Lead pipes carried water to Rome's homes, baths, and fountains, potentially poisoning its people. Grunge theorizes this caused neurological decline, with emperors like Caligula exhibiting erratic behavior. Some claim this was no accident, but a deliberate plot. A poisoned empire engineered by enemies like Parthia, who traded with Rome. Alternatively, could an internal faction, perhaps a priestly order, have allowed lead to spread, weakening rivals to seize power? The absence of clear records fuel speculation, with whispers of a secret society manipulating Rome's fate. Trade with distant lands amplified Rome's wealth, but deepened its mysteries. Ships sailed to India, exchanging silver for spices and gems, as evidenced by Roman coins found in Tamil ports. The Red Sea linked Egypt to East Africa, while silk from China reached Rome's markets. This global reach, unprecedented for its time, suggests a sophistication that intrigues. Could Rome have inherited maritime knowledge from the Sea Peoples or Manawans? Artifacts like the anti-mechanism, a 2nd century before Common Era device with gears mimicking planetary motions, hint at advanced technology. Some speculate it was a navigation tool, perhaps guided by celestial maps from a lost era. Fringe voices claim extraterrestrial origins, linking it to myths of star visitors teaching humanity. Was Rome's trade empire built on such secrets hidden in plain sight? The environmental cost of this prosperity was steep. Deforestation to fuel mines and build ships stripped hillsides, creating pools where malaria-carrying mosquitoes bred. The Pontine marshes near Rome became a breeding ground spreading disease. And martial studies of Roman hygiene reveal a paradox. 11 aqueducts delivered pristine water. Yet public baths used by thousands daily spread bacteria. This paradox of progress saw Rome's advancement sow seeds of vulnerability. Some theorists propose a deliberate environmental sabotage with enemies flooding marshes to weaken Rome. Others see a cosmic pattern where nature punished imperial greed much like myths of Gaia's wrath. The alignment of Roman temples with solstices suggests an awareness of cosmic cycles. Could priests have foreseen these consequences but chosen to ignore them? Socially, Rome's economy bred inequality. While elites reveled in villas, slaves toiled in mines, and the poor crowded inside tenements prone to collapse. The Testaccio district, a hill of discarded amore, testifies to Rome's consumption with millions of olive oil jars piling up. This excess prompts questions. Was Rome's wealth a facade, hiding systemic flaws? Some, citing Mallory's adventures, argue Rome's economy was controlled by a secret elite, a proto-Illuminati that hoarded resources while the masses starved. The grain dole feeding Rome's poor may have been a tool to quell unrest, masking deeper manipulations. Ancient texts mention hidden councils advising emperors. Could these have orchestrated economic policies to maintain power? As Pax Romana flourished, Rome's economic and environmental triumphs carried seeds of mystery. The Roman climatic optimum, lean skies, and global trade suggest a civilization at its peak, yet shadowed by questions. Was the climate's favor a natural gift or a manipulated boon? Did lead poison the empire by accident or design? The Antira mechanism and ruined mountains whisper of lost knowledge, perhaps tied to extraterrestrial or Atlantean origins in the grand tapestry of Rome's imperial splendor. A subtle undercurrent of affliction was through the lives of its citizens, turning progress into a double-edged blade. During Pax Romana, the city's advancements in engineering and urban living brought unparalleled comfort. Yet they swed seeds of unseen peril. Aqueducts gushed with fresh water, baths steamed with communal luxury, and sewers channeled waste away. But these marvels concealed a paradox where civilization's triumphs birthed epidemics that ravaged the populace. What hidden truths lurked in Rome's health crisis? Were diseases mere misfortunes or manifestations of a deeper curse? Perhaps experiments from ancient shadows or supernatural vengeance. Could the fevers and plagues have been harbingers of a mythical terror linking the living to the undead? Rome's urban marvels, symbols of ingenuity, ironically fostered a breeding ground for disease. The 11 aqueducts, masterpieces of engineering, delivered 220 L of water per person daily, surpassing many modern standards. Fountains bubbled in every forum. Baths like those of Caracalla welcome thousands, their plunge pools a daily ritual. Yet this abundance masked a hazard. And Marshall's research into Roman hygiene reveals that shared waters unchanged often enough swirled with bacteria from gastrointestinal wasps. A single infected bather could contaminate the masses, turning therapy into transmission. Doctors like Claudius Galen prescribed baths for ailments. Unaware, they amplified the spread. This ignorance raises a curious query. Was it simple oversight or a veiled experiment in population control? Some fringe thinkers suggest Roman elites, aware of the risks, allowed such practices to cull the weak. A eugenic scheme disguised as public health. The bath's opulence with marble halls and heated floors may have lured the unsuspecting. A trap woven into the empire's fabric. The sewers and other feet primarily drained rainwater, leaving human waste to fester in cesspits. Chamber pots emptied into streets or kitchens, creating a faded atmosphere that Pompeii's stepping stones attest to pedestrians leaped over rivers of filth. This sanitation shortfall bred diarrheal diseases peaking in summer heat. Life expectancy hovered at 30 years. Skewed by infant mortality. But even adults faced constant threats. The paradox is stark. Rome's civil engineering, lorded for centuries, undermined its people's vitality. But what if this was intentional? Conspiracy circles whisper of a poisoned paradise where lead from pipes and cosmetics leached into bodies, dulling minds and shortening lives. Grunge theories propose this as a deliberate ploy by the Senate to suppress rebellion. A slow toxin ensuring compliance. The absence of contemporary complaints fuels suspicion. Did Romans know but remain silent? Bound by a code of secrecy. Malaria, the empire's silent scourge, added a layer of horror. Introduced during the Roman era, its falciparum strain thrived in the Pontine marshes south of Rome, a swampy expanse defying drainage efforts. Symptoms: fever, chills, pallor struck rich and poor alike. Peaking between August and October, Galen treated countless cases, describing the disease's grip. The marshes expanded by deforestation for timber and fuel created mosquito havens. Mark Mlin's river studies show how altered landscapes trapped water, fostering the plague. Yet, this environmental shift sparks eerie speculation. Futurity reports on vampire burials in Roman cemeteries where children's skeletons bore stones in mouths to prevent rising and spreading disease. In Umbria's Cemetery of the Babies, a 5th-century child with malaria was interred, thus linking the undead myth to fever's toll. Could malaria's symptoms, pale skin, light sensitivity, nocturnal agony have birthed vampire legends? Some theorists from the conversation argue vampires originated from such disorders, with Romans fearing the walking dead as carriers. Was this folklore a cover for a deeper truth? Perhaps an ancient bioweapon experiment gone airy. The notion of supernatural ties intensifies the intrigue. Vampire myths predating Dracula by centuries may stem from diphtheria or rabies. But malaria fits the profile: victims wasting away, their return as ghosts explained by delirium. In New England's tuberculosis outbreaks, vampires were blamed with bodies exhumed to halt spread. Rome's context suggests similar fears. Graves with bricks in mouths, puppies buried alongside, or toad bones scattered. As noted in SN Explores, these vampire burials imply Romans viewed disease as unholy, a curse from the underworld. Fringe voices, like those on Reddit, propose malaria as a divine punishment inflicted by gods, angered by imperial overreach. Others tie it to extraterrestrial origins, claiming aliens seeded pathogens to test humanity, with Rome's baths as unwitting vectors. The Church's later vampire hunts may have roots in these Roman terrors, preserving a legacy of fear. Galen's writings offer a window into this medical maze. As a physician to gladiators and emperors, he treated malaria with herbs and observation. But his methods were limited by ignorance of germs. The empire's global reach imported diseases, plagues from the east, fevers from Africa, amplifying the paradox. Trade routes that brought silk and spices also carried invisible killers. This connectivity, while enriching, exposed vulnerabilities. Some speculate a deliberate introduction of pathogens, a biological warfare tactic by foes like Pathia. Conspiracy theories from history link vampires to consumption. But in Rome, malaria's role as a microbe with fangs fits eerily. The fever's seasonal surge, aligning with harvest festivals, may have inspired rituals to ward off evil spirits, blending health and superstition. Rome's response to these ailments was innovative yet flawed. Public health measures like grain dolls and baths aimed to sustain the populace. But they backfired. The paradox deepened. An empire conquering lands could not vanquish microbes. This irony fuels questions of a hidden agenda. Was disease a tool for social engineering, thinning herds to maintain control? Or did elites possess cures hoarded in secret vaults? The Vatican's archives, rumored to hold ancient medical texts, may conceal such knowledge, linking Rome's past to modern conspiracies. Theories from Queen's Gazette suggest vampire myths masked real disorders. But in Rome, they may have served to distract from environmental failures. As we reflect on Rome's health enigmas, the paradox of progress reveals a civilization at war with itself. Diseases born of innovation, curses tied to the supernatural, and conspiracies of control paint a portrait of an empire both brilliant and brittle. Malaria's vampire shadow, Bath's bacterial betrayal, and Leeds' insidious creep invite endless wonder. Were these afflictions fate's whim, or a designed downfall? The answers buried in bones and baths, whisper of truths that may forever elude us, drawing us toward the plagues that would test Rome's resilience. By the way, dear listeners, where are you joining us from tonight? Is it the quiet hours of midnight in California or the soft glow of dusk in Paris? Let us know what time it is where you are as we delve deeper into the shadows of Rome's past. In 165 Common Era, during the reign of Marcus Aurelius, a physician named Claudius Galen stood witness to a horror that would scar the empire. Patients arrived feverish, their bodies erupting in pustules. A wave of death that claimed millions. The Antonine Plague, as history remembers it, ravaged the Roman world, but its origins and nature remain veiled in uncertainty. Brought back by legions from the east, it spread like wildfire through the legions and cities. But was this a natural scourge or a weapon unleashed from afar? Could it have been a divine retribution, as ancient belief suggested, or a deliberate act of sabotage by rivals? Galen, a Greek healer risen to imperial fame, chronicled the symptoms with meticulous care. Victims suffered fever, diarrhea, and a rash that blackened the skin, often fatal within days. He treated gladiators in Pergamon's arena before serving in Rome, his dissections advancing medicine. The plague, he noted, struck indiscriminately, felling soldiers and senators. Modern scholars debate its identity. Smallpox, measles, or typhus, but DNA evidence leans toward a virulent pox. Its arrival coincided with wars against Parthia, where Roman troops sacked Susia, perhaps unleashing the pathogen from besieged populations. This Eastern origin fuels speculation. Was it mere coincidence or a biological trap set by Parthian spies? Some theorists, echoing whispers from ancient texts, suggest poisoned wells or infected corpses hurled over walls, a precursor to medieval catapults of plagued bodies. The plague's path traced Rome's vast networks from frontier forts to the capital's teeming masses. Returning legions carried it home, infecting barracks and baths. In Rome, with 1 million souls crammed into Insel, transmission was swift. Galen described overcrowded hospitals, bodies piling in streets, a scene of apocalyptic dread. Estimates suggest 10 to 20% mortality, decimating the army and workforce. Economic fallout followed. Mines slowed. Taxes faltered as Joe McConnell's ice cores show a drop in lead pollution. Signaling stalled silver production. This disruption weakened the empire, paving the way for civil strife. But beneath the horror, questions arise. Why did the plague strike then at Rome's height? Ancient Romans blamed miasma, foul air, or angered gods, as detailed in contemporary inferences from the period. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher, saw it as a test of virtue, but whispers of divine punishment for imperial hubris persisted. This belief in godly wrath adds a layer of mystique. Romans consulted oracles and sibyls seeking signs in comets or animal entrails. The plague's timing amid wars and expansions suggested retribution for overreach. Some modern theorists expand this, proposing a cosmic conspiracy, celestial events aligning to unleash pandemics as population controls. Ancient astronaut proponents citing Sumerian tales of sky gods bringing plagues suggest extraterrestrial origins, the disease a tool to curb humanity's growth, the Antine plague's novelty, possibly a mutated smallpox strain, fuels such ideas without ancient DNA confirmation. The debate rages, was it endemic or imported from China via the Silk Road, a hidden gift from Hanisiri's Patha's role intensifies the intrigue. The War of 161 to 166 Common Era saw Romans breach Parthian defenses, sacking Ctesiphon. Returning troops laden with spoils may have carried the plague. But was this accidental? Reddit discussions speculate biological warfare, Parthians infecting captives or goods. Knowing Rome's connectivity would amplify the spread. Historical parallels exist. Scythians used poisoned arrows. Hittites drove diseased animals into enemy lines. Could Parthia, masters of toxicology, have weaponized the pox? The absence of direct evidence keeps this theory alive. A shadowy tactic in an age of espionage. Galen's treatments offer glimpses into Rome's medical world. He prescribed milk diets, bloodletting, and theek, a concoction of viper flesh and herbs as antidotes. His writings, surviving in medieval copies, advanced anatomy, but the plague defied cures. This failure prompts wonder. Did elites possess secret remedies? Rumors of imperial physicians using exotic imports. Opium from Persia, sulfium from Cyrene, suggest hidden pharmacopoeia. Some claim Galen himself guarded esoteric knowledge, perhaps from Egyptian scrolls or Alexandrian libraries, withholding it from the masses. Conspiracy circles from history.com. Link this to a medical elite controlling health to manipulate society. A precursor to modern pharmaceutical debates. The plague's impact rippled beyond mortality. It strained the military with legions depleted, frontiers vulnerable. Marcus Aurelius recruited gladiators and barbarians to fill ranks. A desperate measure. Economically, silver debasement triggered inflation as mines faltered amid labor shortages. Socially, it fostered fear with Christians blamed in some quarters, foreshadowing persecutions. This unrest raises a provocative question. Was the plague engineered to reshape Rome? Theorists from the Smithsonian posit it as a catalyst for change. But some see deliberate design, a reset by hidden forces to prune the empire. The Stoic emperor's meditations written amid the outbreak reflect on impermanence. But could they encode a warning of orchestrated calamity? Cultural responses add eerie depth. Art and literature from the era depict skeletal figures and mourning scenes evoking a macabre fascination. Festivals honoring health gods like Asclepius surged as Science Direct notes no direct increase but a broader cult popularity. This religious fervor suggests a society grappling with the supernatural. Vampire myths, though later, may root here plague victims' paler and delirium-inspiring tales of the undead. Could the plague have birthed such legends with quarantines and burials fueling fears of resurrection? Fringe ideas link it to lycanthropy or shapeshifters. Roman folklore blending with Greek werewolf tales. The Antonine plague's legacy endures. A turning point that weakened Rome, paving for later crisis. Its Eastern origins, debated causes, and societal scars invite endless speculation. Was it a natural invader or a weapon from Parthia's arsenal? Did gods or extraterrestrials unleash it as punishment? Galen's accounts, preserved through centuries, offer clues, but no closure, leaving us to ponder if the plague was fate's hand or a human scheme. These mysteries etched in Rome's history beckon us to the greater plagues that would test the empire's soul. In the bustling heart of Constantinople, where the spires of Hagia Sophia pierced the sky, a silent killer descended in 541 Common Era, transforming the Byzantine Empire into a realm of despair. Emperor Justinian, visionary ruler dreaming of Rome's restoration. watched as his ambitions crumbled under the weight of an unseen foe. Bodies piled in streets. Towers overflowed with the dead, crushed like grapes in God's wrathful press. The Justinianic plague, history's first pandemic, claimed 30 to 50 million lives. Its Yinia pestis bacterium confirmed by ancient DNA unearthed from forgotten graves. But this revelation opens doors to deeper enigmas. How did the plague traverse continents so swiftly? And why did it recur like a vengeful spirit? Could it have been a harbinger of the apocalypse as contemporaries believed, or a concealed weapon from shadowy forces? Let us sift through the bones and chronicles of this cataclysm where science meets superstition and uncover if the plague signaled the end of the world or something far more insidious. The plague erupted in Pelusium, an Egyptian port, before racing to Constantinople in 542 Common Era. Eyewitnesses like Procopius described swollen boos, blackening limbs, and delirium, with death claiming 80% of victims. It spread westward to Italy, Gaul, and Spain, and northward to Britain as recent DNA finds in Anglo-Saxon graves confirm Christiana S.H.'s team at the University of Tartu extracted Yinia pestis from a young male's tooth in Edix Hill, England, proving the plague's reach to remote hamlets of 60 to 70 souls. This rural penetration defies logic. How did it leap from urban hubs to isolated farms? Some scholars point to fleas on rats hitchhiking via trade. But the speed suggests more, perhaps deliberate dissemination through infected goods or travelers. Fringe theories from Reddit whisper of a plague road, a secret network of carriers orchestrated by Byzantine rivals to undermine Justinian's reconquests. DNA analysis has revolutionized our understanding, pinning the blame on Yinia pestis, the same bacillus behind the Black Death. Shib's lab drills into ancient teeth, extracting pathogen genomes from bloodstream remnants. The strain's virulence causing bubonic, septicemic, and pneumonic forms explains the horror fleas biting humans after rodent hosts died. Aerosols spreading it person to person. But the DNA holds puzzles. Why did this variant emerge then and vanish after 750 Common Era? Comparisons with modern strains suggest mutations, perhaps engineered. Conspiracy circles, as noted in Wikipedia and PNAS discussions, speculate biowarfare. Justinian's enemies in Persia or Arabia releasing it to halt his North African and Italian campaigns. The plague's timing amid victories fuels this. Was it a desperate counter-strike using infected animals or corpses? The recurrence every 10 to 15 years for 2 centuries amplifies the mystery. It haunted the Mediterranean, striking Constantinople repeatedly, where Justinian built Hagia Sophia as a plea for divine mercy. Procopius likened it to apocalyptic visions. Bodies bursting in towers evoking Revelation's winepress of wrath. This biblical echo suggests contemporaries viewed it as the end times, a punishment for sin. Cambridge's Ulf Bunton links it to the late antique Little Ice Age, starting 536 Common Era, with volcanic eruptions blocking sun, cooling the planet, and driving rodents into human settlements. Tree rings from Italian Alps show stunted growth in 536 to 540. A cold snap that may have triggered the outbreak. But was this volcanic fury natural or a cosmic sign? Some theorists from National Geographic propose a comet impact or solar flare exacerbated the chill, aligning with prophecies of darkened skies. The end of the world narrative grips the imagination. In 541 Common Era, the plague coincided with Justinian's legal reforms and architectural feats. Yet it halted his reconquests. Historians like those in PNAS debate its impact. Tens of millions dead. Economies shattered. Populations halved. But revisionists argue exaggeration, citing sparse records. This discrepancy sparks suspicion. Did Byzantine chroniclers inflate the toll to justify failures or suppress truths? Conspiracy theories from Reddit posit a great reset with elites using the plague to depopulate and rebuild, echoing modern COVID debates. Some claim Justinian's court knew of cures. herbal antidotes or quarantines, but withheld them, culling the masses. The emperor's survival, despite infection, fuels this. Did he access secret remedies from Persian alchemists or Egyptian scrolls? DNA's role unveils further intrigue. SH's findings in England, a backwater far from Constantinople, imply unknown roots, perhaps via unrecorded trade or migration. The bacterium's genome, sequenced from teeth, matches Black Death strains, suggesting persistence. But why did it vanish? Some speculate mutation to dormancy lurking in rodent reservoirs. Others, from live science, link it to extinction after devastating hosts. Yet fringe voices propose suppression. An ancient bioweapon deactivated by its creators. Theories from Quora tie it to the plague of the Philistines millennia earlier, suggesting cyclic releases by a timeless cabal. The Justinianic strain's absence in modern outbreaks adds to the puzzle. Was it engineered to self-destruct? A controlled apocalypse. Cultural responses deepen the enigma. Justinian's era saw apocalyptic fervor with chroniclers invoking Revelation's plagues. The emperor's code compiling Roman law may have been a bid for order amid chaos. Hagia Sophia, completed in 537 Common Era, stood as defiance. Its dome a heavenly mimic, but earthquakes in 551 damaged its scene as divine displeasure. Some from De Groote draw parallels to CO-19, where pandemics reshape societies. Conspiracy angles suggest the plague as a false flag blamed on barbarians to justify wars. Persian sources hint at mutual accusations fueling warfare theories. The plague's legacy reshaped Byzantium, halting expansions and ushering the Middle Ages. Population crashes led to labor shortages, shifting power from cities to countryside. Yet, Constantinople endured, its walls unreached until 124 Common Era. This resilience prompts wonder. Did Justinian's court harness secret knowledge to mitigate the worst? Alchemical texts from the era speak of plague wards, perhaps early vaccines. Some claim DNA evidence hides more multiple strains, suggesting lab-like evolution. The English find from a modest grave implies the plague's grasp extended to the fringes. A global endgame. As we contemplate this devastation, the Justinianic plague emerges not just as a historical event, but a riddle wrapped in apocalypse. DNA unlocks its bacterial heart, but mysteries persist. Engineered weapon, divine curse, or cosmic test. Recurrences like vengeful ghosts, biblical echoes of end times, and theories of hidden cabals invite speculation. Was it the world's conclusion or a prelude to rebirth? The bones whisper of truths untold, drawing us toward Rome's unraveling, where greater shadows loom. If these tales of ancient plagues and secrets spark your curiosity, dear listeners, we'd love for you to hit that subscribe button and tap the bell to stay with us at Codex of the Lost. And tell us, where are you listening from today? Is it late night in Istanbul or morning in Melbourne? Drop a comment with your time and place, and let's keep unraveling history's mysteries together. As the sun set on the eternal city, casting long shadows over its crumbling forums, the fall of Rome in 476 Common Era marked not an end but a metamorphosis shrouded in secrecy. Odoacer deposed the last emperor, Romulus Augustulus, and the Western Empire dissolved into barbarian kingdoms. Yet whispers persist that Rome never truly fell, that its essence endures, a perpetual force guiding history from the shadows. Through the Vatican's labyrinthine halls or the corridors of global power, could Rome's spirit still reign? What if the collapse was a masterful illusion, a strategic retreat allowing the empire to evolve undetected? The narrative of Rome's collapse is etched in history's annals. Germanic invasions, economic decay, and internal strife eroded the once mighty realm. The Visigoths sacked Rome in 4510 Common Era, a shock that reverberated through the empire. Vandals followed in 455, looting the city with ruthless efficiency. These barbarians, once peripheral threats, exploited Rome's weaknesses, overextended legions, debased currency, and a populace weary of taxes. The Rhine frontier crumbled in 46 as tribes like the Vandals and Alans crossed frozen rivers, a climatic anomaly that some attribute to the late antique Little Ice Age. This cooling triggered by volcanic eruptions in 536 weakened harvests and fueled migrations. But was this environmental shift a natural harbinger or part of a grand design? Theorists speculate that Roman elites, foreseeing the end, orchestrated the invasions, using barbarians as proxies to dismantle the old order and rebuild in secrecy. The Eastern Empire, under Justinian, attempted revival, reconquering Italy and North Africa. Yet the Justinianic plague of 541 decimated populations. Halting momentum, Constantinople endured, but the West fragmented into kingdoms like those of the Ostrogoths and Franks. Traditional historians cite overexpansion and moral decline, as Edward Gibbon argued in his 18th century tome. However, a bolder perspective emerges. What if the fall was Fig-Ned? Mallory's Adventures posits that Rome transitioned to a stealth mode, its power relocating to the Church. Constantine's conversion in 312 and the Edict of Milan in 313 integrated Christianity, transforming the empire's structure. The Pope, as Bishop of Rome, inherited imperial authority, with the Vatican becoming a repository of ancient knowledge. This theory suggests the fall was a rebranding, allowing Rome to influence through faith rather than force. The Vatican's role in this eternal conspiracy is central. Its archives, spanning 12 miles of shelves, hold documents from Roman times, inaccessible to outsiders. Some claim they conceal proofs of continuity, imperial edicts morphing into papal bulls, or maps of hidden treasuries funding global endeavors. The donation of Constantine, a forged 8th century document granting the Church Western lands, exemplifies this manipulation. Exposed as fake in the 15th century, it nonetheless shaped medieval power. Theorists argue such forgeries were deliberate, perpetuating Rome's grip. The Swiss Guard, Vatican's protectors, wear Renaissance uniforms echoing Roman legions, a symbolic nod to enduring might. Could the Church be Rome's vessel? Its doctrines are code for control. Global elites allegedly carry this torch. The Holy Roman Empire, crowned in 800 by Charlemagne, revived the title, blending Germanic and Roman legacies. Its dissolution in 186 did not end the influence. Some see it in modern institutions like the European Union, headquartered in Brussels, but inspired by Roman unity. Conspiracy circles from popular mechanics claim Rome's descendants through bloodlines or secret societies wield power via banks and governments. The Rothschilds or Rockefellers are sometimes linked, their fortunes tied to ancient treasuries. The Federal Reserve's architecture mimicking Roman temples fuels speculation of a financial empire rooted in antiquity. Is this mere coincidence or a deliberate echo? Military echoes persist. Rome's legions with their eagle standards inspired later armies. The Napoleonic eagle or the American bald eagle. The Far Seas bundled rods symbolizing authority appear on the United States dime and in congressional chambers. This symbolism suggests a lineage with Rome's martial spirit alive in modern superpowers. Theorists posit underground networks, catacombs extending beyond Rome, hiding relics and plans. Recent LiDAR scans reveal hidden chambers beneath the city, sparking rumors of a subterranean Rome, a command center for eternal operations. Cultural and technological legacies add intrigue. Rome's concrete lost for centuries was rediscovered, its formula involving volcanic ash suggesting alchemical secrets. The antither mechanism, though Greek, was studied in Roman times. its gears hinting at mechanical knowledge suppressed until the Renaissance. Some claimed the Vatican hoarded such devices, releasing them strategically to advance agendas. The Gregorian calendar, reformed in 1582 by Pope Gregory I XIII, refined Julius Caesar's system, linking past and present. This temporal control raises questions. Does Rome still dictate time? Is calendar a subtle chain? The fall itself may have been staged. Odoacer deposing Romulus Augustulus sent the imperial regalia to Constantinople acknowledging Eastern supremacy. This seamless transition suggests orchestration with the West falling to allow reinvention. Barbarian kings adopted Roman titles preserving administration. The Church filled the vacuum, its bishops stepping into senatorial roles. This continuity implies a plan with elites migrating power eastward while maintaining Western influence through monastic orders. The Benedictines, founded in 529, preserved Roman knowledge, their scripture copying texts that survived the Dark Ages. Modern parallels intensify the mystery. The European Union's motto, United in Diversity, echoes Rome's inclusive empire. Brussels institutions mimic the Senate with the euro evoking Roman coinage. Some from Mallory's adventures see this as Rome's resurrection with the Vatican pulling strings. The World Economic Forum or United Nations are cast as extensions. Their globalism rooted in imperial universalism. Bloodlines like the Orini or Colonna families claiming Roman descent allegedly influenced from shadows. Esoteric dimensions deepen the allure. Rome's cults like Mithraism with its underground temples may have evolved into secret societies. Freemasonry symbols, compasses, squares traced to Roman builders. The Illuminati, founded in 1776, are linked to this lineage. Their eternal light, a metaphor for Rome's undying flame. Vatican observatories, scanning the stars, fuel extraterrestrial theories. Did Rome's founders, as myths claim, descend from gods or aliens? The she-wolf nursing Romulus and Regius may symbolize a pact with other worldly entities ensuring perpetuity. As we gaze upon Rome's ruins, the Forum's columns, the Colosseum's arches, they stand not as tombs but sentinels. The conspiracy of perpetuity suggests an empire that adapted its fall a myth to conceal evolution. Through the Vatican, elites, and symbols, Rome endures, shaping our world. Was the collapse a ruse? Its architects laughing from history's depths? These questions, etched in stone and starlight, invite us to ponder if the eternal city's heart still beats, guiding humanity toward an unknown destiny. As we stand at the crossroads of time, gazing back at the rise and fall of ancient empires, a profound truth emerges from the dust of history. From the Bronze Age's catastrophic collapse to Rome's enduring legacy, the story of humanity is one of ambition, triumph, and vulnerability, interwoven with mysteries that defy answers. The droughts that starved empires, the plagues that decimated millions, and the conspiracies whispered in shadowed halls all point to a singular lesson. Our fate is bound to the whims of the earth and the secrets we may never unravel. Yet, as we face our own era of climate upheaval and global crisis, these ancient tales resonate with eerie relevance. Are we doomed to repeat their mistakes? Or is there a hidden hand guiding us toward a new reset? Could the lessons of the past conceal a blueprint for survival or a warning of an orchestrated collapse? Let us weave together the threads of these ancient enigmas, reflecting on their echoes in our world, and ponder if the shadows of history hold the key to our future. The Bronze Age collapse 200 years ago was a cataclysm that reshaped civilization. Empires like Egypt, the Hittites, and Mycenae fell as droughts withered crops. Trade networks crumbled, and the sea peoples swept through. Science pollen grains, stalagmites, ice reveals a climate crisis. But mysteries linger. Were comets or volcanoes the culprits? Or did ancient elites manipulate scarcity, as some Reddit theorists claim, to reset power structures akin to a new world order? The Sea Peoples, shrouded in ambiguity, might have been refugees or agents of a cosmic plan, their origins tied to Atlantis or extraterrestrial guidance as National Geographic muses. Egypt's survival under Ramses III, marred by the Haram conspiracy, hints at internal betrayals perhaps orchestrated by a proto-Illuminati to shift control. These events, mirrored in today's climate migrations, suggest a cycle where environmental stress breeds chaos. Are we in 2025 facing a similar tipping point with rising seas and temperatures echoing that ancient curse of the earth? Rome's saga amplifies this warning. Pax Romana's prosperity, fueled by the Roman climatic optimum, built an empire of 50 million. Its roads and aqueducts marvels of engineering. Yet the paradox of progress saw urban splendor breed disease, malaria from marshes, bacteria in baths, the Antonine Plague, possibly smallpox, and the Justinianic Plague, confirmed by Christiana Sh's DNA as Yinia pestis, killed millions, exposing vulnerabilities in Rome's global web. Were these plagues natural? Or, as Reddit speculates, bioweapons from Parthia or Persia designed to empires? The eternal conspiracy from Mallory's Adventures posits Rome never fell, its influence persisting through the Vatican and modern elites. A shadow empire, controlling global finance. Today's pandemics like COVID-19 mirror this, spreading via trade routes, raising questions of orchestrated crises to reshape societies. Our modern health policies, as some fringe voices claim, a continuation of ancient tactics to manage populations. Science has illuminated these shadows. Daphne Langett's pollen studies, Joe McConnell's ice cores, and Ulf Buenken's tree rings pinpoint climate's role in ancient collapses, while SH's ancient DNA unveils plague origins. This collaboration, as Joe Manning at Yale advocates, rewrites history, showing humanity's dependence on nature, but it also fuels intrigue. Do these discoveries conceal suppressed truths? Vatican archives rumored to hold Roman texts might guard secrets of lost technologies, Antiaether-like devices, or alchemical cures echoing Atlantis myths. Theorists from popular mechanics suggest modern institutions like the United Nations inherit Rome's universalism. Their climate agendas, a veiled attempt to repeat ancient resets. The alignment of ancient temples with stars, from Egypt's pyramids to Rome's pantheon, hints at cosmic knowledge, perhaps extraterrestrial, guiding these cycles. Our world mirrors these ancient crises. Climate change with rising temperatures and extreme weather threatens food security, as seen in recent IPCC reports. Migrations from Syrian refugees to climate-displaced communities recall the Sea People's desperate flight. Pandemics spreading via global trade echo the Antonine and Justinianic plagues. Conspiracy theories from Reddit and Quora see a new world order orchestrating these. A modern cabal descended from Bronze Age elites or Roman senators manipulating crises for control. The World Economic Forum's Great Reset rhetoric fuels such claims, suggesting a planned societal overhaul. Are these parallels coincidence or evidence of a timeless agenda? The absence of clear answers keeps us tethered to the mystery, wondering if history's lessons are warnings or scripts. Yet, hope emerges from these shadows. Ancient societies adapted Egypt's resilient farming, Rome's enduring East showing human ingenuity. Today, renewable energy and global cooperation offer paths forward. But the mysteries persist. Do elites guard ancient knowledge as Mallory's Adventures posits to steer our fate? The Vatican's observatories scanning for cosmic signals. Revive tales of sky gods guiding Rome. The Anti-Thra mechanism, a star-tracking relic, suggest lost sciences that could aid us if unearthed. These enigmas urge us to question. Are we pawns in a cycle, Or can we break free? The stars watched by ancient priests may hold clues. Their light a bridge between past and future. As we close this journey, the lessons of history shine clear. Humanity is fragile, bound to Earth's rhythms. The Bronze Age's droughts, Rome's plagues, and today's crises show our vulnerability. Yet the mysteries, Atlantis, alien influences, eternal cabals keep us searching. Are we repeating the past or forging a new path? The answers hidden in ruins and skies beckon us to listen, to learn, to wonder,